I've been free. I said I've been clean and free. That's what I call it. No contact her. I contacted her last year to apologize, and my wife got the email like a couple of weeks ago, and it was an email from last year, and I apologized to the female for being so wrong, and I'm sorry for what happened, and I won't talk to you no more. My wife took that as something bad because I didn't tell her.
Okay, first
But
of all,
every time I'm honest, I get beat up. Every time I tell her something, I get tortured about it. So I just left everything alone.
okay, well, you have to that's full disclosure there. So regardless of that, and this goes for you as well as the rest of the callers there, you never allow someone to dictate who you are at your core. You continue to tell the truth there and be honest, because right now it may not feel like, of course, it's much leadway that's being made there, but in the long run it will, because one of the biggest things in rebuilding trust, the first thing, of course, is what you said. You've ended the affair. But now, did you end the affair in her presence there, or was it where you just told her?
That's the problem. No, she said I couldn't. The bad thing about I went to jail for the female because we got into altercation because of my wife, me and her, the other girl, and I had no physical contact with her for 2 years. And the wife said, well, you could have contacted her. You contacted her to apologize to her, so you could have contacted her in front of her. She said she would never trust me again until we confront this girl. It's been over a year now. I don't know I don't even know where she at. I have no way of finding her or nothing now. And I don't think we can go up to her and say, hey, by the way, me and my wife working it out. I don't know how to do. That's something that I don't know what to do. I can pray about it, but I still get beat up every other month on, you ain't never confront her in front of me. You ain't never did this. You ain't never did that. I've never given my all to teach you to that.
Okay, let me ask here. You have, I'm assuming from what you said there, as far as, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a church home, and within that church home there, have you sought out spiritual counseling?
We had spiritual counseling first. They got me to where I'm at today. The men that we have in our church are also very strong. A lot of them have been committed adultery before. They helped me through, got me where I'm at today. How do I get past what I'm going through now? I know it's not time limit on it, but it's getting so stressful. I own a business. I work. I have a lot going on in my life. But to be stressed, to come home to stress of that can be very tormenting, very bad.
Okay, there's a reason that she keeps on bringing this up there. And one of the things as I coach the clients in which I work with there, you have to leave the past in the past. However, you cannot leave the past in the past if you have not had full, complete disclosure, meaning every last one of her questions, no matter how hurtful, how painful they are, they need to be answered. Every last one of those questions there, and having full disclosure, that begins to really help heal the process there. Another thing, it is better when you actually confess voluntarily, and it helps the process move along a lot quicker versus when they have to discover, that you've had this untruth there. Another thing too is, you have to turn to each other. Even in the midst of this storm there, she has to begin to understand that the more that she brings this up, it's like digging that dagger into your back there. And for every 20 steps you take forward, you're really taking 100 steps back there. And she needs to actually understand that. And now the thing is, are you both really committed? And it sounds like, I'm hearing commitment from you. But again, with her, are you 100% in it to win it, committed to not just surviving? Because I'm here to tell you, it's not about surviving infidelity. It's about thriving within your marriage to get to a place, and I promise you it's possible. Me and my husband are here today, and our marriage has never been better than before. I've been where you're at there, and I've been where your wife is, wanting to bring it up and saying to myself, Da-Nay, that ain't nothing but the devil. And if you continue to bring this up here, you're only revisiting unnecessary things. Your husband has been completely honest with you. So that's the question I would ask her is, do you feel as though I'm being honest with you? And if her answer is no, then again, ask. No. Okay, so then you need to understand.
I lied so much in the past, and she bring up stuff to set me up. I'm like, no, I ain't deal with that. It's live to her. Not just be trying to blow off, like, I really don't want to talk about that right now. I'm like, that's come on, man, you're thinking of stuff that's and she said, I'm lying to her, so I guess you have to remember the deal. When I tell her the truth, she starts comparing her. I said, no, I had a different life. I was just asking why. I'm trying to tell you.
She needs reassurance. She really needs reassurance. So one of the things that I will say to you, if you're not already doing this, is if you tell that woman you're going to be at home at 7 o'clock, you're going to be there at 6:30, showing her and making as far as every single effort there. And maybe it might be where you're sacrificing going out. Now, I'm not saying to give it up altogether because everybody needs a life there. But if these are things that understand her perspective for a moment and understand where she feels threatened. Is it that if you go out with someone or a group, or if you're doing a particular activity or your involvement, understand and ask her, where is it that you feel most threatened, and what are some other things that you feel threatened about? But begin to reassure her by coming home early, calling her on a regular basis, and I really hate to use the word, checking in, but here, if it's for the sake of your marriage, then you need to check in. You need to talk to her. You need to, just whatever that reassurance, find out what it is she needs, because every woman and every man is not the same. So sitting down with her to understand what are her specific needs.
And let me also say this to you, Ron, is that what she's saying is true, because in my relationship that I've been with my wife for over 20 years, everywhere I go, I've always let her know exactly where I am, even if I make any kind of detour, because it gives her the confidence and the trust and the reassurance that I'm going to be a man that she can always rely on and trust in. And then you said something about, you guys going to counseling, you're not listening. And I've been doing counseling for over 20 years, and that is one of the pivotal things that happens a lot in counsel relationships. They feel that the counselor is going to save their relationship, but the savior in the relationship is you two.
Amen.
You've got to be the ones that are going to listen to what the counselor tells you to do and follow those procedures. If you're not going to do that, counseling is not just for you can say, I did it, or we tried it. It has to be something that you're willing to follow. And I tell people all the time, somebody has to be willing to die on the cross so their covenant of the relationship can survive. And that means sometimes you have to give so the covenant can make it. It's not who's right or who's wrong. It's that the covenant of that marriage will work. Hey, Ron, I thank you very much for calling us. We're going to go on because we've got a lot of things we've got to say with Da-Nay. And Da-Nay, you basically said something on your book, and I want to go back to that because it says something about being a detective. So I want to talk a little bit about that, about what do you mean about being a detective in the book? Am I supposed to keep an eye on my spouse? Am I supposed to check up on her, find out where they're going? What does that mean?
Well, right before I answer your question, I want to say that I am available for your audience there. And, of course, I know later you'll have me give out my information. But for Ron, your previous caller, please reach out to me, and I will follow up with you first thing tomorrow there. But to answer your question, what I mean by playing detective, first of all, you all, let me give the disclaimer. I do not believe in stalking, okay? If you are stalking someone, there is a problem, and we need to really talk, right? That is a whole nother, as me and my girl would say, that's another prayer breakfast right there. Right. But what I do mean by that is that too often when this is happening, we ignore what I call in the book, trust your truth, which is your intuition. And our intuition never leads us astray. And through statistics, it is found that in most cases, if you listen to your intuition, 80% of the time, you are absolutely right about an affair and infidelity taking place. So sometimes if the person is not confessing and being honest to you, and you deserve to know the truth there, and if you really want to know the truth, there are some things that I talk about, some guidelines of how to really uncover if there is any adultery or infidelity going on. So
let me say this. So now, say if the person they have this intuition, but they've been hurt before, and so they're thinking that this person is doing this, and they're thinking that it's their intuition, but it's just maybe they're not confident or they're insecure. How do you take those two together and be able to know if I'm playing detective because of my intuition, or am I just bringing past infidelity or insecurities into play?
Well, the first thing is being proactive. You should, and I normally never say never, but in this case here, you never really want to go into another relationship when you have not previously dealt with that baggage, dealt with that hurt. Because if you don't do that, I have a saying in my business, you cannot conquer what you're not willing to confront. So you got to confront that thing in that relationship and be completely healed of that, so you can, come into this next relationship in a healthy place there. But now, at the end of the day, we know when keeping it real goes wrong. And we know if we sitting up here thinking, okay, I'm insecure, I'm having these feelings, but yet this man or this woman is doing all the things right. They're home early. They're next to you majority of the time. They're calling you. They're as loyal and faithful as they can possibly be there. But you are holding that individual hostage because of someone else's mistakes there. So that's on you to rectify those insecurities within yourself and not place those onto someone else.
Okay. Well, that's a great point, but she had me thinking of the infidelity triggers, and I was reading part of it in the book, but I'm interested to know, what are those? Is it the lack of the person saying anything about, like you was telling Ron, come forth and say it, volunteer, because it's helpful. She shouldn't have to pry it out of you. Are those, like when she's going through the infidelity triggers of just thinking, he came home from work 10 minutes late? So should he reassure her when he's, like as my husband said, when he make a detour, he'd call in? Or with some people, it's like, you know what, I know I'm not doing anything, but I'm not showing her that I'm not doing anything. So when that person have the infidelity triggers or problems, how can a person actually just calm him or her down with that and let them know, baby, it's nothing going on?
Well, that's a good question there. And I'm glad you asked that, because one of the things is, when you get into a relationship with someone, you really need to come clean about any issues that you've had from your prior relationships there. So if you knowingly understand you're dealing with someone who is in a past relationship, had to struggle and navigate infidelity there, you want to be mindful of that okay, in order for this person not to suspect that I'm doing these things here, that I am actually doing those things that I said that I'm doing. You're consistent. That is the key. You're consistent, with your job, but then also, again, that ownership falls on that individual, where they need to understand that, my husband, in his case, though, he actually had a job where he would apprehend people and the police might come there. And so I would have to be understanding to that as an element of his job. Every time he's late does not mean that he's necessarily having that affair. So it goes back to really trusting your instinct, and then also being able to have a little bit of discernment and to say, you know what, is this the devil really trying to get in the details and wreck shop on my marriage here? Or has this been a pretty inconsistent pattern going on? Is he coming home late every night? Is he making things up? Is he, not where he says that he's going to be there? Is he taking the phone in the bathroom where he used to talk to me in front of people there? Or, all of those things there. Or, coming home smelling like perfume, lipstick on the collar, coming home, getting in the shower before he even greets you, pretty much. Then, if those behaviors and, kind of out the norm, because that's where my husband got caught up a little bit, where he used to call me religiously, faithfully every night when he got off work. And this one night, he didn't call me, and my instinct kicked in like nobody's business, and I was right.
So, wow, one time, huh?
Hey, and we've got just a couple more minutes. Da-Nay, you got a couple of shout-outs you want to give out real quick?
I do. I want to give a special shout-out to all of my fabulous women in the Courageous Conquerors Mastermind there, to Crystal Iris of Hey Girls there. I want to give an extra special shout-out to my fabulous graphic designer, and I believe now yours too,
yes,
Sandra Ballinger.
Yeah. So shout her out too.
So if you need a graphic designer, get in touch as far as with the show, or get in touch with me. But also to Sylvia Duncan of the Duncan Approach, who is having an amazing event. So mark your calendars for May 30th from 11 to 3 p.m. Overcoming Your Past, a Be Made Whole laser coaching workshop. And in this workshop, you will get an opportunity to get tools to move past your past adversities and really be able to expect the best from yourself and learn how to equip yourself to be able to do that. So make sure you go to theDuncanApproach.eventbrite.com to sign up.
Amen. Hey, we got about a few more minutes. Today, we're going to talk about, when we come back, just a little bit about the backstory of what made you decide to write Love After Adultery. And we just want the people to know where they can get this book at as well. So we've got about, Nate, we got about 1 minute left. We got 2 minutes. Da-Nay, tell them where they can get the book from.
They can get the book on my website, and if you get the book on my website, that gives me an opportunity to autograph it to you, your families, your friends, whoever may be in this situation, or it's a gift because in your marriage, you never know what you're going to come in contact with there. So that website is www.DaNayMacklin.com. Also, check out the reviews on Amazon.com there. They're all 5-star reviews, I'm happy to say. It is a very quick read. You know, most people say when they start